What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live Arsenal update video. And as I said, people, we know the World Cup has taken over right now. It's World Cup fever, but we still have to check in with the community, check out the latest Arsenal news and see what's going off around the club. Obviously, for when we come back next month, top of the league. It seems like absolute months since I've seen Arsenal play football. It really does seem like a long time. But I got to be honest, I am enjoying the World Cup. I am embracing it. And we've seen some entertaining games. And yeah, it has been exciting, to be honest. Yeah, I've just gone into Sambi mode, people, to slow down the comments. Big up to everyone in the chat. And it's live, said Anthony. Big up yourself. Hope Arsenal are, watching the World Cup and looking at any potential targets, because that's something we definitely need to be looking at. Mark, from today, I'm going to get going more with the watch-alongs. The first week I've had a lot on, so I haven't been able to do too much. I'm live tonight, 6:30 for the England game. And from there, we're going to be doing watch-alongs pretty much every day, to be honest. So just for example, today we'll be doing England against America. 6:30 we'll be live for that one. Tomorrow, I'm going to do France-Denmark and probably do Argentina against Mexico. Spain-Germany on Sunday. So we're going to get going. I'm going to really get going with the watch-alongs now, people. So make sure you're here. 6:30 tonight. England against the US and Senegal are beating Qatar 3-1 now. So I've got that one on. Anthony said, I'm loving the World Cup. Always do. Got to wait 4 years for this. You have to embrace it. 100%. That's what I said at the start. I was moaning about it. I want to watch Arsenal. Listen, enjoy the break and let's just enjoy watching the games. But yeah, tune in tonight, 6:30, people. Big up South London Science. Big up the C Unit community. Hope you're all keeping well. Hope you're enjoying the World Cup. And obviously, we've got some Arsenal news to talk about today. And yeah, listen, I really appreciate everyone who tuned in yesterday. I obviously did a pre-recorded video talking about Cristiano Ronaldo to Arsenal. Listen, there's no real links to him, really. There was a few made-up stories. I just kind of wanted to know your thoughts and feelings, whether you would take him. I've got to be honest, I would say 60 to 70% of you were saying, no, you don't want nothing to do with him. 30, maybe 35%. We're saying you would take a punt on him. I still think he's a very good player. It probably just doesn't go with the dynamics of Arsenal right now. I got to be honest, for me, if he was prepared to be a squad player, I'd take him for 6 months. I just don't think Cristiano Ronaldo is prepared to be a squad player. So I don't think he'll be coming to the carpet anytime soon. Big up Josh. Ronaldo out. Hey, listen, man. I don't think we're gonna have that issue anyway. But I tell you one thing, I do want to see an attacking player join this club in January. That is for sure. Big up, Josh. Hope you're well, bruv. Would you want a 2-year World Cup? Do you mean like a World Cup every 2 years? I just don't know if they could fit it in with the Copa America, with the Euros and all of that stuff. I don't know. I think every 4 years makes it special. Listen, I wouldn't mind every 2 years. You just got to look at the fatigue of the players. Yeah, Gunavettel, I'm being honest. If Ronaldo came to me and if I spoke to Ronaldo and said, listen, Ronnie, look, I'm prepared to bring you to Arsenal. First of all, you got to take a pay cut. You can't get 500 grand. 6 months, squad player, don't play every week. I would be interested, but he's never going to take that. For me, Zaha, Memphis Depay, someone like that in January. Depay for 5 million, they're saying. Wilfried Zaha for around 20. Can play left wing, can play in the 10, can play up front, can play on the right. That's probably somebody that I'd be going for. But we're obviously going to speak today about Mudryk, another player that we're being heavily linked with. Big C will be suing in the car park like Saeed. I would be shameless with it. I can't lie, people. If Arsenal got Ronaldo, I'd get him on the back of the shirt. I'd be seeing in the car park, I'd be sweet. I'd be doing all of it. But I don't think it's going to happen. He'll definitely get a move somewhere, though. Argentina v Mexico will be wild. Yeah, man. That Richarlison goal, listen. It's one of them, innit? You see him score the goal and you're like, yo, yo, yo. Then you're like, oh, man, he plays for Tottenham. But then you're like, I just got to appreciate it. I don't know about anybody else, people, but for me, when I watch Brazil, I don't know. I almost feel like I support Brazil. Like, I genuinely do. Like, the famous shirt. Just growing up, I always loved the Brazil team. Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, Romario before that. I can tell you now, in Jamaica, they go crazy about Brazil. Probably because Jamaica don't qualify hardly ever. But I love Brazil. I can't lie. I tipped Brazil to win the World Cup. Breaking news today, actually, about half an hour ago, that Neymar is going to miss the next 2 games with that ankle injury. So it'll be interesting how that affects them. Anthony said, enjoyed your DR Sports Watch. And I know earlier you were killing it with the banter as per. Well, that's 5'6" lead you is a little jarring. He's funny, man. I thought he was funny. He's a bit delusional, but big him up, man. Let's Be Arsenal said, big up Big C, finally get here for a live stream. Really appreciate it. It definitely brings you back to your childhood. I think everybody loves Brazil. Maybe the Argentina fans don't, but Curtis, who's the real Ronaldo? The real Ronaldo Fitzborn Byron, right here, right now, on the 25th of November, is R9 Ronaldo Nazario. De Lima, what's his name? You know what I mean? Ronaldo Nazario. That is the real Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7. Ronaldo is R9. That is the real GOAT Ronaldo. Anybody has not seen that documentary, Ronaldo the Phenomenon, that's on BBC, go and watch that. Quite simply, my favourite footballer of all time. That is for sure. R9 all the way. You know that, people. R9 finished from Richarlison. Now you better relax. Fitzborn says, you kidding me? Nah, Fitzborn, I don't know. You need to get on YouTube. I need to send you a documentary link, man. The real Ronaldo is R9 Ronaldo, my friend. 2 goals in the World Cup final against Germany. Nah, man, you're mad. The greatest striker to ever play the game. Simple. Simple as that. That's the real Ronaldo for me. R9 finished from Richarlison. It was crazy, I can't lie. Yeah, big up my bro Akeem, man. You know, people. You know, R9 is Ronaldo. Simple. Simple. Fits. You better calm down. Paul said, people saying that they trust Mickey and Edu for every transfer as if they don't sign up Renarsson, Lokonga, etc. Dross equal to... This is what I said. 50% of the job that Arteta and Edu have done in the transfer market. Yeah, man, you deserve credit. Gabriel, Thomas Partey, Zinchenko, Gabby Jesus, Ramsdale, Ben White. Yeah, that's your respect. But we can't ignore the fact Renarsson, Cedric, Pablo Mari, Willian on a 3-year contract. There are a lot of, duds there that have gone horribly wrong. So, yeah, man. Abby said, finally, Big C live. I was having withdrawal symptoms. I know, it's crazy. You know what? I'm just one of these people. I don't like to force content. I could go live every day and talk about Arsenal, but there's simply not enough news. And when there's no news there, it's forced. I won't have the enthusiasm. So, but like I said, from tonight, we're really going to get going with the watch-alongs, pretty much daily now. So, yeah, anyway, big up everyone for tuning in. Bruno Gomes was a mistake, 100%. Should have snapped him up. Big up Fortis Schooner, Big C in the building. Anthony said, yo, not too long, finished watching the R9 documentary. What a player, so glad to have grown up in the 90s. Was a golden age. Without those knee operations, he would be the GOAT, 100%. I mean, he's still my GOAT anyway. But I hear you, the knee injury certainly slowed him down. He was just unbelievable, man. Kurt's been watching your streams for 3 years. Inspirational to see how far your channel's come. Brings a smile to my face. Big up to you. Elliot said, bless up, Curtis. Let me know about the member stream. 100%. I was going to do it today, but the schedule's got a bit mad, so I'm going to try and squeeze it in tomorrow, possibly, if not Monday. Keep it locked on the community page. Anyway, King Henry said, big up Curtis today. B-Day Vodka, an England game on TV with the guys. Happy birthday, King Henry. Up you're well, bro. Ammo said you gutted that Neymar's out. Should be back in 2 games. So hopefully we'll get to see him. Anyway, let's get into the Arsenal news. Just before I get into the transfer news and everything that's going off, obviously a lot of Arsenal players have been featuring, although some of them not getting too much game time. Bukayo Saka was named in the team of the first round of games, which I think is a credit to him. He was man of the match in the game. And listen, you look at Iran this morning. Big up everyone who tuned in. I was on DR Sports for the watch along this morning. Not that I think they're going to win it. I got them in the sweepstake. I got stitched up. But you look at Iran beating Wales and how well they played today. You have to give credit for England and the way they just dealt with them. They really did deal with Iran comfortably, scored 6 goals. And Saka got man of the match. Ramsdale and Ben White didn't feature. Matt Turner played against Wales. He'll be playing tonight against England. Saliba didn't come on, which was a real shame. But and then on one hand, maybe we keep him out the way of clubs looking at him. Tomiyasu, I think he came on. I'm not sure, actually. I didn't actually see all of that game. Granit Xhaka played in their 1-0 win. Thomas Partey played yesterday. Very good game against Portugal. They probably should have equalised at the end. And Gabby Jesus and Martinelli came on. Do you know what? I felt like a proud parent watching Gabriel Martinelli come on. I feel like as an Arsenal fan, we've been on a journey with him, you know, signing this unknown guy from Brazil who came from the 4th division in Brazil, and now seeing him make his debut in the World Cup. And he looked lively when he came on. As soon as he came on, ran from the halfway line, went past their right back like he wasn't there. Jesus didn't really touch the ball that much. And listen, I'm going to be honest, I don't think Gabby Jesus is going to get much game time having watched Richarlison score that goal yesterday. But listen, I say every cloud has a silver lining. Any of the Arsenal players that don't play a lot, they come back and they're sharp for the next part of the season. So, yeah, if they play great, confidence high. If they don't, bring them back fresh. And we'll see what happens, man. Fitz said, Curtis, do you believe England will win the World Cup? I'm going to be honest. I put England in the top 3 teams that I've seen so far. Maybe 4. I would say Brazil, France, England and Spain, if we're going to stretch. I still don't think Spain are going to win it, though, despite that hammering of Costa Rica. I think Brazil, France and England are the best 3 teams. You can't write off Argentina. I just think, as I've tweeted a few times, I think pace is going to win you this World Cup. And I think Brazil, with the likes of Vinicius and Neymar, lots of pace. Rodrigo looked quick when he came on. Richarlison. You look at France, Dembele and Mbappe out wide. You look at England with Saka and Sterling, Rashford to come on. I think Argentina lack the pace. Di Maria and Messi, they're in their 30s. They looked a bit tired. Belgium looked tired as well. So I think England are one of the top 3 teams. I'm just not sure if that England defence can cope when they come up against better opposition. Be interesting how they do against America tonight. And yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. Captain South C Unit Curtis Bussin moves on DR Sports. In the forfeit, I had to dance. They put on some rock music. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I can't do nothing to this. I can't work with it. Chris said, gutted for Partey ever since 2010. I've wanted to see Ghana do well at the World Cup. Listen, again, I'm one of these. Every Arsenal player I want to do well, but if they go out in the groups, you know, get him back. We got a big second half of the season to go. So, Portugal. Listen, Cristiano Ronaldo is going to be absolutely desperate to win the World Cup, because if he wins the World Cup before Messi, that's going to create a different argument. One thing with Portugal I couldn't understand, I don't know about anybody else, I don't know why Rafael Leao is not starting. I think he's one of the best players in Portuguese football. And to see him on the bench, I just couldn't understand that. But we'll see. They've definitely got the individuals. I'm just not sure if they have the collective. Kamani said, Big C, I was also a proud parent when him and Jesus came on. Rodrigo looked rapid when he came on as well. He really did. He looked really quick. Imagine Mbappe versus Maguire. Exactly. It's game, set, and match. History tells us slow starters also win. Exactly. Argentina, whoever, they may get better. So we'll have to see. If England win tonight, they're through. So make sure you join me for the watch-along. They're forcing Ronaldo in at the moment. I mean, Ronaldo got man of the match. There's this thing going around at the moment that they're just giving man of the match to the biggest player. I think De Bruyne said the other day he was embarrassed to win man of the match as he hadn't even played well. Big up Vegas said, much love from Uganda. Eros said, big up Curtis and C Unit. Hope everyone is well. South London's fine. He said, the Portugal manager is too negative. Also wasn't impressed with Felix, even though he scored. Yeah, and for me, Leao should be in the team. I think he's one of Portugal's best players. Anyway, let's get into some Arsenal news, some transfer news, people. Story going around from Fabrizio Romano. Some people say he's the best. Some people call him a tapping merchant. Depends on what side of the argument you're on. But he says On Mudryk, he's talking about Mudryk to Arsenal. He said the player they want is Mudryk. It's about the price because Shakhtar have been really strong in negotiations for more than a year. Can Arsenal convince Shakhtar to do a deal for Mudryk? And listen, we've had this conversation time and time again, so we are going round in circles a little bit here. Car Park Mudryk, as I once famously called him. He can't stop talking about us, to be honest. He did an interview with Zinchenko's wife on TV saying how he would rather start for Arsenal than be on the bench for a team like Real Madrid. He seems desperate for the move. He seems desperate to come to the carpet. Everything is there to get the move done. I suppose it's just a case of whether the club feel he's worth the money. Now, we've said before, apparently they want around 60 million euros for him, which is 51.9 million pounds. It's very... I've got to be honest, right? I actually watched some of his highlights this morning. I thought, let me have a little look at him. I have done it a few times just to, I've seen him play live a couple of times. The game against Celtic the other week. But I thought, let me look at some of his best bits. One thing I'll say about him, he is rapid. His dribbling speed is ferocious. And it does strike me as one of these players where I kind of feel like he could become a superstar. But the thing with Arsenal, we just can't afford to get it wrong. We've seen with Nicolas Pepe, we spent £72 million on him. I'm not sure we'll even get £15 million for Pepe. And that's the problem. Are Arsenal willing to take the chance and pay big money for someone that's still relatively unproven at the top level? There's another bit of info coming out here. This is the coach of Shakhtar. He said... the management of Shakhtar said he will decide what to do when there is an option to sell the start of the team. As a coach, I would like such a player to play as long as possible in the team. This was Shakhtar coach Igor Jovic on Arsenal target Mudryk. Listen, it's going to be taken out of his hands. Let's be totally honest. If there's a big offer put in for him, it doesn't matter what he wants. They're going to take the money and run. You make a very good point here, Desire. Said YouTube highlights is always on the counter-attack. Now, when we spoke about Wilfried Zaha the other week, a lot of people were saying the problem with Zaha plays in a counter-attacking team. We're a possession-based team. How would he do? What did Bayern Munich say about Nicolas Pepe? Remember, they were favourites at one stage to sign Nicolas Pepe. Bayern Munich said they didn't want to sign Pepe because he played in a fast counter-attacking team rather than a team that dominates the ball and dominates possession. And they didn't feel he could adjust to that. So can Mudryk not only come to the Prem and adjust, can he play in a team that, let's be honest, Arsenal are now dominating possession in most games. Niz Pop said, love from Croydon. Dr. Armino said, not used to playing versus low blocks. I mean, how would he do against, a defensive team away from home, not giving you a lot of space? He hasn't got space to run into. He seems to thrive on space. How can he do when that space is denied, when they've got, two banks of four behind the ball, they're defending on the edge of their box? Is he good? Loyolo said, I think Mudryk is clever enough. David said, if Mudryk signs Curtis, you need to apologise. Listen, I will apologise. Not only for coming to Arsenal, that's not enough. He needs to join Arsenal and then perform. Then he'll get my full apology. If he comes here and struggles, I'm going to say, well, he was an Asda Neymar after all. Ben Brown said, I just got back from Thailand. They have a supermarket chain called Big C and Mini Big C. It was a C-unit business. Nah, they owe me 10%, man. I'm going to look that up. Big up Ben Brown. Appreciate that. Jamie Campbell said, we can't be spending these amounts on unproven players when we don't even spend it on proven players. Do you know what? You've got a good point there. If we were to spend 51 million in January on Mudryk, now don't get me wrong, Mudryk could come to Arsenal and be a monster. And who cares? We'll all celebrate then. The reality of it is, I always say buy what you need before you buy what you want, right? Buy what you need before you buy what you want. Arsenal spent £35 million on Fabio Vieira. At the moment, hasn't been a hit. Could be in the future. If we buy Mudryk for £51 million, I don't think he starts for Arsenal. I don't think he starts. He's not getting in ahead of Martinelli or Saka, right? And obviously he's not a striker. So he's going to be on the bench. Now, I think that for 51 million to put him on the bench, and also for a guy that's not majorly proven yet, I'm just not sure if Arsenal have got the cash and it's on the hip, take the chance. If Arsenal buy him, I'm going to be absolutely shameless and say he's one of the most dangerous wingers in Europe, and I'm all over it, right? And I'll big him up and say, what a signing. If we don't sign him, I'll say I don't want nothing to do with him. He's unproven. He plays in a league, in a minor league. He's been knocked out of the Champions League, and I don't rate him. Right? That's me. You know me, people. Right? But would I rather spend 51 million on Mudryk, who I honestly can't really say how good this guy is, or would I rather spend 5 million on Memphis Depay? Or would I, a guy that's played in the Champions League, played in the World Cup, played for Barcelona, played for Lyon? Would I rather sign Wilfried Zaha, Premier League proven, just had his best season last season in the Prem, Arsenal fan, will cost you 20 odd million quid? It's all about risk and reward in life, in business, in football. It's about spending the money the right way. I think there is a lot of potential in this guy, Mudryk. I've got to be honest. I think there's a lot of potential, but I would also say he's relatively unproven. He's not at the World Cup. His country didn't qualify. He obviously looked good in the group stage of the Champions League, but they were knocked out. We may actually play against him in the Europa League if we get them at some stage. I'm just going to be honest. If you said Memphis Depay 5 million, Zaha 20, Mudryk 51, I think that's the riskiest deal of the three, if I'm being totally honest. I would... Listen, he ticks more boxes in the sense of because of the age. He's in his early 20s and the club will be thinking, we can buy him for 50. He might be worth 90 in 2 years if he develops. Zaha's only going to go down in value. He's nearly 30. In fact, he's just turned 30. So... I'm going to be honest. I don't think he'll sign for Arsenal in January. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't think Arsenal will drop £51 million on a winger in January. If you look at the history of our January transfer windows, I don't see it happening. If it does, I would be very, very surprised. Akeem said, we're crying about the money, but the board probably don't care. They got bans in the bank. Listen, 100% they got bans. The problem is they got financial fair play. All you got to do is go and look at the facts on paper. Arsenal are not making money from selling players. We are one of the worst clubs in the whole of Europe when it comes to selling players out of the big clubs. We are horrendous. You look at City, they sold Jesus, Zinchenko, Sterling in the summer. They're recouping their money. Who did we sell in the summer? Guendouzi for 9 million, Lucas Torreira for 5.5. The rest pretty much went for nothing. Mavropanos went for 3.5 million. We don't make money from player sales. We spent 125 in the summer. We spent 150 last summer. We are definitely borderline with financial fair play. We need a midfielder. We need a winger. I think they'll only buy one, if I'm being honest. Fitzborn said, Curtis, sometimes you've got to step out into the unknown. And listen, I agree with that. Arsenal are in a situation now where, for example, a player like Haaland, right? Haaland was ripping it up. Where was he? At Salzburg, one of them teams, before he went to Dortmund. Arsenal can't wait for a player like Haaland to go to Dortmund, rip it up, because he gets into that bracket where everybody in world football wants him, and we can't win that race. We can't get a player ahead of Real Madrid or, ahead of a lot of these clubs now because we've been out of the Champions League for too long. We're not as attractive a proposition as we used to be. So we have to try and find Haaland before he becomes the Haaland. So Mudryk could be a guy where you go, okay, we don't sign him. He goes PSG or he goes somewhere else. He's worth 100 million and we can't get him. So we have to take that type of risk and sign a player that's not all the way there yet. So it's risky. I think the club want him. I think the club will more sign him in the summer. my only question would be about this deal. I think if Arsenal win the league, or if we get top four, which we should, I would argue Arsenal could sign a better winger than him with Champions League football, because I do think a lot of top players would want to come to us in the summer. For example, I wanted Raheem Sterling last summer. I thought for 45 million it was incredible business. He wouldn't have signed for us because we didn't have Champions League. All of a sudden, if we get in the Champions League, those kind of players would come to Arsenal. Thomas saying time out for me for Memphis Depay. Listen, I'm going to keep it 100. In this January transfer window, in the position that Arsenal are in, Memphis Depay is sensible business. I'm telling you, £5 million. I'd give him an 18-month deal. I'd say, look, we'll give you 18 months with a 1-year option. You keep him 6 months, you've got him for the whole of next season, and then you can bin him. You don't tie yourself down, give him 4 or 5 years. He signed a 2-year deal at Barcelona. Now, I'm not saying he would be my first pick. There are other players I would rather sign. But I'm saying if Arsenal need a midfielder and Arsenal need a winger or a backup striker, he would be a good option. Tell me better options in terms of a striker to work with Gabby Jesus. You know, Ivan Toney, 50, 60 million. In fact, he could be banned because of all this betting thing. This is a difficult window we're heading into. It really is. Good business, rather him off the bench than Eddie. And this is what I'm saying. If you've got a £5 in your pocket and I give you a tenner, you can't turn it down because you want 20. You've only got 5. Man are saying, no, I don't want Depay. All right, cool. You got Eddie and Nketiah. Keep Eddie then. How's that for you? I mean, I know I'd rather have. I'm being real. One of them's playing in the World Cup for Holland and at Barcelona. So beggars can't be choosers. Ish said respect Sherman. Listen, Sherman, do your thing, but Eddie and Nketiah, Memphis Depay, I know I'd rather have playing. But Mudryk, listen, I don't think there's any doubt he's been twerking for Arsenal for about 6 months. Right? He wants the move. They would sell him at the right price. There's no doubt about it. Most of the time, clubs like Shakhtar, they sell once they get to a certain number. But I'm going to be honest, I'm not convinced that Arsenal are going to drop that kind of money in January. If they do, I'd be surprised. But if we get him, I'll support him. If we don't, then I will say I never wanted him and I never rated him. You know how it goes. Sadiq said Memphis also works hard for the team. His mindset has changed since he left Man United for Lyon. He has matured. Coach has prayed 100%. When Virgil van Dijk was injured for Holland, he captained them. I think he's definitely matured. People saying Depay is whack. Again, I think we've got to look at the context in which we say this sometimes. You know, Memphis Depay, just as an example, right? I mean, last season, Barcelona, 18 starts in the league, 12 goals. Is that finished? Is that whack? 12 goals in 18 games for Barcelona last season. He's played 2 games this year, scored 1 goal. He's been injured. In the year before, his final season at Lyon, 37 games, 20 goals and 12 assists. I mean, I think people are jumping the gun when they say, you know, that people are whack and they're finished. I think we got a really... All his goals were pens. I mean, yeah, he did score a lot of penalties, but, you know... Strikers take penalties. If you win a lot of penalties, they're going to take them. I'm not saying I want Memphis Depay to start and we're going to be like, you know, rely on him to win. But he's better than what we've got. We need a striker. Beggars can't be choosers. All right, let's do it. All right. People are asking for a poll. More polls than a strip club. Would you sign Memphis Depay for $5 million in January? Let's get that poll up. I think there's a kind of an outlook with Depay. You know, he's making rap videos. He's driving flashy cars. He's tattered up. He almost looks like a rapper the way he moves. And I think people take away from him a little bit his talent as a footballer. I think he's decent. And for $5 million, there's value all over that. Would you take Depay for $5 million in January? Listen, for me, that's a no-brainer. The only problem, I would say, the contract has to be short. I wouldn't want to see 3-4-year deals. I want, 18 months. If he's poor, you get rid of him at the end of next season. Make sure there's a way out of that contract. Don't give a 3-year deal like we gave to Willian. E. Ross said Depay is a solid option in my opinion. XO said he's Lacazette's twin. He's 28. I'd say he's more mobile than Laka. Laka, the engine was knackered, man. Curtis, if we were able to spend 72 million on Pepe, why can't we afford Mudryk? Listen, Arsenal have got the dough. 100% they've got the dough. But you got to remember, we bought Pepe in the summer. And we also got him on a nice payment plan. It was Klarna, buy now, pay in 3 months. I think it will be a struggle for Arsenal. When's the last time Arsenal spent big in January? It was Aubameyang 4 or 5 years ago. And that was because we'd lost Alexis Sanchez. They haven't spent big in January for a number of years. Omid said, Big C, would you take Rodrigo from Madrid? 60 to 70 would be accepted. Play him as a winger, move Martinelli to 9. Do you know what? I was never that convinced by this guy, Rodrigo. But what I've seen of him the last year, I like him. I think he's improving. Again, the problem with Arsenal right now, if we go and spend 60, 70 million on a winger, I'm not sure they're starting. And that's the problem. I look at Martinelli and I think, if you leave Martinelli in this team, he's going to become an 80, 90 million pound player. I would argue Saka already is an 80, 90 million player if you sold him. So it's difficult for Arsenal to go and spend huge money on a winger because if I'm Mudryk, I'm looking at Arsenal thinking, I'm probably not going to start there if I go there. So it's difficult what kind of winger we can get. We may actually have to sign a winger that is not top level, like a Trossard. No disrespect to him, rather than Rodrigo from Madrid or, we may have to sign someone that's not quite as good, that's got good potential, that's willing to maybe fight for his place and be back up. You're saying there about Martinelli playing central, but I don't think they're just going to drop Gabriel Jesus. He's massive. Marnie Daly said, I've always supported Brazil over England. I think everyone loves watching Brazil, man. It's Brazil, innit? Like you said, 18 months, not much risk for 5 mil. 100%. Listen, we need... This transfer market is overpriced, right? Any market that we go into now. Because I feel like there's less quality players available now. So, and there's so much money around football. It's not like back in the day. You got teams that... Wolves are bottom of the league right now. They signed, is it Mateus Nunes, who I heard loads of hype. They signed him for £40 million. The team bottom of the Premier League can spend £40 million on a player. That's how rich the Premier League is. So there is no value really, or not often value in the transfer market. So if you can get quality for cheap, you take it. You take it. It's, DV said, Big C, would you take Jonathan David in January? I've got to admit, I watched Canada the other day. I wasn't impressed with him. I've watched him a few times now, and I don't particularly rate him that highly, Jonathan David, especially with the numbers they was talking. He's decent, he's lively, but I'm not fully convinced by him. Forest signed Gibbs White, £42 million from Wolves, newly promoted. They spent 120 million in the summer, so there isn't a lot of value there. You have to find value in the transfer market, But we'll see. Listen, I just want Arsenal to do something. I'm going to be honest. If Arsenal signed Trossard, if they signed Memphis Depay, they signed Wilfried Zaha, if they signed Cody Gakpo, any of those kind of attacking players, wingers who can play up front, I would genuinely be happy with any of them. Honestly, I would take any of them over what we've got at the moment. I think we need more than what we've got. Big up C Unit fam. Looking forward to the USA England clash. Going to be a good game. If England win, they've already qualified, which takes the pressure away from that Wales game. Kimani said, Curtis, signing Depay for 18 months might interfere with us getting a big money striker in the summer like Osimhen. I think he fits us perfectly. See, I wonder, if Arsenal get Champions League, will they look for a striker in the summer? Because I just feel like Arteta is so committed to Eddie Nketiah, giving him that contract. How do you get him off your books? Who's going to sign him and give him 100 grand? He's also on a 5-year deal. So maybe Balogun. Listen, Balogun is having a great season in France. Maybe he comes in. I've always said it, and some people have said I was unfair. I think Balogun's got more... I don't know. I just feel like he's got something more about him than Eddie. He's got 8 goals in 15 games in the French league this season. You know, if he can turn that into 15 to 20 goals, you know, I think he comes back with real hope that he can do something. Big C, Zaha or Depay. I gotta be honest. I'm taking Wilf. Because he's doing it in this league. Some people will say that, you know, Depay didn't do it in the Prem, even though I think he's a better player now. I'm taking Zaha. He's an Arsenal fan. He's electric. The pace. You have to double up on him. And I think, yeah, I would take Wilf ahead of Depay all day long. But yeah, like you said, Caleb, Balogun really doing his thing. Nomad said Arteta is the king of the kids. He can find diamonds. I mean, he deserves credit for a lot of the players that he signed, Mikel Arteta, 100%. But he spent decent money on them. You know, it's not like he signed these guys for 5 million and we've never heard of them. Ben White cost 50 million pounds. I think that was overpriced. But he's performing this season. You know, Aaron Ramsdale cost 30 million. It's not cheap money, but he's definitely found a few quality ones, that is for sure. Mohamed Kudus from Ajax, he looked good yesterday for Ghana. Zaha won't come to be a rotational player, though. Probably not, but I think Zaha would have to understand that he's 30 and that he's going to have to fight for his place. And listen, I've met him a few times. I don't think, knowing his personality, I don't think he would look at Saka and Martinelli and think, I can't get in that team. I'm going to be honest. I think if you had a conversation with Zaha, I mean, he plays left wing for Palace. I think he would believe that he could get in ahead of Martinelli. Now, I'm not saying that's what our fan base would agree with. I think he would say he can get in ahead of him. Scored 14 league goals last year. So I think he would back himself to get in the team. Bruce said, yo, what's good, Big C? I know it'll be expensive. We should go all out for Felix and Bellingham. These are kind of players, like I've said before, if we get in the Champions League, which we should, let's be honest, we need to be in those conversations. I think whoever gets Jude Bellingham, for me, is hitting the jackpot. I think he's an outrageously good player. I just don't think we can get him unless we win the Premier League. That might elevate us to the level where we can get in that conversation. He's going to cost 100 million. And he's being linked with Real Madrid, Man City being linked with him. Liverpool, I think there's rumours they've got a gentleman's agreement. Jamie said Zaha is better than both of them right now, in all honesty. Whew. I mean, that is a good debate in itself, to be honest. Is Zaha better than Saka or Martinelli, or both of them? That is an interesting one. Curtis Collins said, I wish we signed Zaha when we signed Pepe. We definitely tried, but they didn't want to pay the dough. Marcus Thuram has 10 goals in 15 games playing for Mönchengladbach, and he's out of contract in the summer. King Henry said, Felix is very unhappy in Atletico. Peter said Leao. I would rather sign Leao. I just think Leao would be more expensive, but I love him. I think he's an outrageous footballer. Kimani said Zaha has the advantage over Saka and Nelly when it comes to Premier League experience. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because when a player plays for your team, you favour them. You know, Zaha would say last season 14 goals, more goals than Saka, more goals than Martinelli playing for a worse team. This season 6 goals in 13 games. But listen, it's not all about stats. We know that. Saka got 11 last year, though he did get more assists. And Martinelli got 5 goals. No, 6 goals, but he's got 5 already. So I think, listen, their ceiling is way higher. That is the thing. I think they're going to go to higher levels than what Zaha is at. Will Zaha track back and press? Maybe not. Mr. SJE, yes, finally catching Curtis on a live stream. Anyway, let's move on, people. Let's move on. I've been waffling. Don't want to do a Mikel Arteta to you for too long. Make sure you join me back at 6:30 tonight for the watch-along. Let's get into our next story, people. Just a quick bit of news, just to keep you updated, is Arsenal announced last night they will be playing a pre-season friendly at the Emirates on the 17th of December. So 8 days before Christmas. It's a 6 p.m. kickoff. I believe it's a Saturday. This will be the final game of their sort of midwinter pre-season break. Obviously, we play Watford next week, I believe. We play Watford at the training ground. We then fly out to Dubai where we play against Lyon, Lacazette's Lyon, and then AC Milan in Dubai before flying back and playing against Juventus at the Emirates. So certainly we haven't given ourselves any easy games there. Let's just hope these games don't damage our confidence. With a lot of our players being at the World Cup, we may have weak teams out. It wouldn't be nice to go and get beaten by Lyon and Milan and Juventus. This game apparently is available for members. I did see on the website it said members only would be available to buy tickets for this game, not going on general sale, which makes absolutely no sense to me. It's a game that I would imagine they'll struggle to sell out. So why would you not make it available for anybody to go and watch? But if you are a member, tickets going on sale. According to the website, they're going to stream the Lyon, the AC Milan, and this game. I don't think the Watford game is going to be streamed. So we'll get to see Vlahovic. Yeah, you're right, Ish. We spent the whole... Oh, and Locatelli as well. We spent the whole summer chasing Locatelli and then the whole January chasing Vlahovic. Didn't get any of them. And you're right. These could be hard games for Arsenal. It's the day before the World Cup final. Will Pogba and Chiesa, two players that were injured, will they be back for that game? Vlahovic, Di Maria. Could be a very difficult game, this, for Arsenal. One thing I was reading that was very worrying was they're saying that players that go to the World Cup final could be given a week to 10 days off in order to recover, which would mean with the World Cup final being on the 18th and Arsenal playing on the 26th against West Ham, if we have players in the World Cup final, they could potentially miss the first game after the break against West Ham. I mean, that is worrying. When you think that, Martinelli and Jesus play for Brazil, we've got 3 players with England, we've got 1 player with France. I would expect 1 or 2 of those countries to get to the World Cup final. The only thing I would hope is that Saka is the only one out of all those players that is starting. So I would imagine if, for example, if Saliba gets to the World Cup final and he hasn't really started, then surely he doesn't need 10 days off. Surely he could have 3 or 4 days off and come back and play the West Ham game, because West Ham have got nowhere near the amount of players at the World Cup that we have. What we can't afford to do is come back on Boxing Day, 4 or 5 important players missing. Can you imagine England against Brazil in the World Cup final? No Saka, no Ramsdale, no Ben White, no Martinelli and no Jesus. That's half of our team. So, yeah, I'm hoping that because a lot of these guys aren't playing, they won't require the week to 10 days off. So hopefully we'll be all right. I'm a little bit split when I watch Arsenal players in the World Cup. On one hand, I want them to really thrive and do well. On the other hand, I kind of want them to get knocked out of the competition so they come back to Arsenal. So it's going to be an interesting one, that is for sure. But we'll have to see with that one. Need Brazil and England to get knocked out. Let's talk transfer news again, people. Let's talk transfer news again. GQ said it's a good thing Saliba doesn't play. It looks like it will be the case. I don't think Saliba will get a lot of game time at all. If France win their second game, maybe they'll give him the third game if they've already qualified, just as a run out. But even with no Varane, no Kimpembe, he still didn't play. They still went with Konate and Upamecano. So I don't think Saliba's going to kick much during this World Cup. General Partey should be back soon. Yeah, I think Ghana are going to struggle. One Ball HD said we need ready-made players if we want to get to the title. Also, big up Curtis, big up my new channel. Yeah, no worries, man. Go and support new channel, or anyone who's got channels, put them in the comments. Always happy to promote. And I agree. I think when you're in a title race and you get to January, and this is what I'm saying, I think January is a very different window to the summer. If we were signing Mudryk in the summer, I'd be like, cool, pre-season, settle in, get used to the country, learn the language a little bit, get used to your teammates, and keep it moving. I think when you sign a player in January, it's like, bro, I need impact right now. You got 6 months to get us over the finish line. I look at a player like Mudryk. he might take 6 months to even get used to playing in this league. And by then, the season's done. Obviously, on the flip side, some players come here and hit the ground running. But I think you need a quicker impact in January than you can afford in the summer when they have a little bit more time. Let me end this Memphis Depay poll. Would you take Memphis Depay for £5 million? 66% of you said yes. 34% say no. It will be interesting, and it looks as if he's going to be on the market. Fitzborn said, Curtis, respect and manners, catch you on the 6:30 broadcast. Thanks for the afternoon broadcast. Big up, bro. Stay in it. We got a little bit more to go yet, people. Another 10, 15 minutes at least. Let me show you the next bit of transfer news, people. And make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and all of that good stuff, people. 6:30, we're back for USA against England. Watch along. Brazilian journalist Jorge Nicola has spoken to Danilo's representatives, who have told him Arsenal are continuing to monitor the player and should place an official bid to Palmeiras after the World Cup group stage. I mean, on one hand, I'm not sure what the World Cup group stage has got to do with us putting the bid in. He's not in the Brazilian squad, so, you know, what are we waiting for? We don't need to wait for Brazil. But that's directly from the representative to the journalist, who's saying, listen, Arsenal are monitoring him, they're expecting the offer, and according to reports, if Arsenal make the same offer that they made at the start of the season, Palmeiras will accept it. They weren't willing to sell him in the summer, as they were in the South American equivalent of the Champions League. They got beat in the semi-final. They won their league title, and they're prepared to let him go. I'm with you, Gunnar Vettel. Danilo, baller. Never seen him play, though. Again, this one for me is like, he's in his early 20s. He's been in the Brazil squad before. He hasn't made it for the World Cup. Apparently, people saying he's the best up-and-coming midfielder in the Brazilian league. It all sounds great. £26 million is not huge money for Arsenal. Yeah, you can take a punt on him. My only issue is, again, can he impact this team quick enough? I suppose the difference with him is that he's not going to start straight away. If Xhaka and Partey are fit, they're going to play. But we know Thomas Partey's injury prone. We know Xhaka's known for getting yellow cards, suspensions, although he has been a lot better. Again, can Danilo adjust to this league quick enough? Can he start for Arsenal at Anfield, at the Etihad? Is he going to adjust quick enough? I think because of the price, I think Arsenal... If you said to me right now, who are Arsenal going to sign in January, this would be my number one tip. This would be the one that I think Arsenal will go and get. Is he the one I would go for? I mean, I watched Yuri Tielemans the other day against Canada, and he was horrendous. He dropped a disaster class. You know, he got dragged at half-time. He was super slow. I mean, I know Alphonso Davies is rapid, and he is rapid, but he jogged past him, literally just jogged away from him. Tielemans, defensively, is absolutely horrendous. On the ball going forward, no doubt he's got bags of quality. Defensively, he cannot run. He's like 47 pace on FIFA. He's terrible. I think Danilo's the one that they're going for. So, again, it's a young player that I'm sure his value can get much higher. And, you know, Edu loves a Brazilian player. MJ said, Dubai soon save us. Is it treble 99 settings again? Listen, I don't even need the treble. I just want the Prem. Just give me the Prem, please. Give me the Prem. Prem or Europa League. Top 4 and win the Europa League, or win the title. They are my two, like, sort of realistic dream scenarios. Winning the Prem is still very, very difficult. Win the Europa League and finish top 4, or win the Prem. Though any of those two happen, and like, that's Arteta on the green screen, and I'm eating waffles live on stream. I think at this point, I'm being a bit greedy. If we just finished top 4 and didn't win a trophy, I think I'd be a little bit disappointed. Maybe I'm being a bit greedy, because at the start of the season, if you offered me top 4, I'd have said, I'd take that all day long. But now, because we're top, I've kind of adjusted what I want a little bit. Classic Guna said, give the 26 million to Ajax for Kudus instead. I thought he looked really good yesterday for Ghana. And, I mean, could we get him for 26 million? The problem with signing any player from Ajax now is Ajax got so much money for their players in the summer. I think it's difficult to buy. You know, they got 90 million for Anthony. They got 56 million for Lisandro Martinez. They're going to be very difficult. They're not strapped for cash, that is for sure. Akeem said El Neni. Yeah, I mean, listen, El Neni's a good backup, but he's not good enough to win you a title. That's the reality. He can come in for 4 or 5 games and look solid, but he can't do it for 10, 15, and he ain't going to do it on a regular basis against the bigger teams. Oli Mady said, Ruben Neves, listen, I think he's a top quality player. And I think the fact that Wolves are bottom of the league, it would be a great time to try and sign him. He's starting for Portugal in the World Cup as well, so they obviously rate him highly. I think Ruben Neves is top quality. I would sign him ahead of Tielemans. I think with Arsenal and Tielemans, again, I think they're just thinking sign him in the summer on a free. Arsenal like a bargain, you know. MJ said, nah, I'm talking United. See, you don't have a Hey, relax, man. Relax. Oh, yeah, you're talking United. Listen. I'm with you now, MJ. Dubai are obviously talking about buying Manchester United. Listen, I'm going to be totally honest. I'm not going to cap, right? Manchester United and Liverpool being up for sale is a big worry to me as an Arsenal fan. If they get the right ownership in charge. Because I think what people have to understand, being sold doesn't mean you're going to the promised land. But if Man United or Liverpool get that oil money, it's an absolute madness for either club. It's insane. Can you imagine Jurgen Klopp with big money to spend? Wow. It's a big problem. Man United, I mean, the difference with Man United is Man United have spent huge money anyway. There's this thing like, you know, Man United have spent huge money. They've got the biggest wage bill in Premier League history. Probably not now that Ronaldo's left, because that's $500,000. So Man United don't not spend money. The problem with Man United is the setup. I've been to Carrington Training Ground. 10 years ago, it was one of the best. Now it's terrible. Not terrible, but for the level Man United are at, you know, Man City's is 10 times better. You go to Old Trafford, you can't get Wi-Fi in the ground. The roof's leaking. They don't have a screen. You know, if you miss the goal, you can't even see the replay of it. You know, we know about Ronaldo and the chef. You know, he ain't happy with with the food that he's been eating. So United are 5 to 10 years behind other clubs in terms of this structure off the pitch. They've relied on individual brilliance on the pitch. Buy Pogba, he'll do it. Buy Zlatan, buy Ronaldo. Man United have been individual brilliance FC for over 10 years. That's why they've had no sustained success. You put oil money in there, you get a good technical director, you get a new training ground, you fix the stadium, you sign the right players. I actually think Ten Hag is a very good manager as well. Man United become a problem. And this is why I keep saying, as much as I really like Newcastle as a football club, I do not want Newcastle to get top 4. Because when they start pulling them checkbooks out, they are a problem. I don't mind them getting Europa or Conference League, but these takeovers are a problem. And this is why I keep saying, Arsenal need to do something this season. They might be able to win the title this season, because next year, if United get taken over, Liverpool get taken over, Pep signed a new deal, it's going to be even more difficult. Nomad said, don't break Edu and Arteta process for cheap thrills. The squad is together. Please don't kill that in January. I hear you. A lot of people were saying that in terms of Ronaldo. You know, don't sign Ronaldo because he breaks up everything that they've been building. Why are these US owners selling? Because I think they're getting to a point with Manchester United where they're like, listen, you've been overtaken, right? Man City have overtaken you in your own city. And the only way to get Man United back is huge investment. And I mean huge. They need to completely redo that training ground. They need to fix the stadium up. They need huge investment on the pitch. And I don't think these Glazers want to do that. You know, the fans are against them. They're not making the same money they used to make. They say, you know what? They've made a fortune. Sell the club. Go back to America and chill. So I get it. I get it. Same with Liverpool. I think Liverpool have hit a bit of a brick wall in the sense that you look at what Jurgen Klopp's done. I think Liverpool have overachieved over the last few years, winning a Champions League, winning a Prem. It's got to a point now where Klopp's saying, give me the money. Jude Bellingham wants to go to Liverpool, but if Jude Bellingham doesn't go to Liverpool, it will be because of finances, because Liverpool are not prepared to pay the money. If he's got oil money backing him, and 250 million to spend, they become a huge, huge problem. So, we got to be careful. We got to be careful. Our owners need to keep investing. Love Big C and the C Unit. Big up the Visionites. Like I said, people, everyone tuning in. I'll be back at 6:30. England versus America. Watch along. Should be a big one. Let's Be Arsenal said, yeah, Curtis, but 8 billion for United. 6 to 8 billion apparently to buy them. So anyone who buys them is going to be mega, mega rich, because there's no point buying them if you can't put the right amount of money into them and fix them the way that's necessary. So it's interesting times. They were relying on CR7 for marketing. Now that ship sailed. Exactly. They've sat there and said, listen, Pogba, Ronaldo, that was their 2 shirt sellers, their 2 big hitters, both gone. Now what you going to do? You ain't really got the major shirt sale. They know that club needs investment to push on, and they're not prepared to do it. So I understand it. Big up Damian, who said, Kurt, long time no see, glad to catch you live. Big up, bro. Sheikh Shaw needed at the Emirates. Say, listen, if only, man, if only. Maybe, you never know, maybe the Kroenkes will go next, Anyway, well, 2 stories to go. I won't end with a negative one, so I'll get this one out the way first, because as an Arsenal fan, we certainly don't want to be reading this, but a report coming out at the moment, people, that PSG have sent a scout to the World Cup to watch closely Gabriel Martinelli. Now, it's not the kind of story that we want to be hearing, reading, or discussing in any way, shape, or form. Now, I've read the whole story. It's not an A1 source, to be honest. It said that PSG are preparing for Lionel Messi's exit in the summer. It looks as if Messi could be going to Inter Miami in the summer. They're going to need another wide player, and apparently Gabriel Martinelli is on their list. And of course, with his precarious contract situation as well, he's a player that people will start looking at. So what are your thoughts and feelings on this? Anything to worry about, or do you think we're all right? Again, Saka, Martinelli, and Saliba all in precarious contract situations at the moment. And I think when this World Cup finishes, as well as signing a couple of players in January, you've got to get those guys to sign new contracts because they're 3 of our best players for sure. Mamadou, thank you for the super chat. Let's buy the whole Brazil squad. Yeah, if only we had the money. Vinicius Jr. and them, man, right? Are you going to bring FIFA streams to our eyes, Big C? They will land eventually, I promise you. Twitch gang, apologies, man. I've said it for a while. 34 of you watching on Twitch, 1,200 of you on YouTube. Really appreciate it. Watch along tonight, 6:30. Make sure you tune in. Let's tie him, Saka and Saliba, to a new deal. A lot of rumours going around that this Saka deal is pretty much done. He just hasn't put pen to paper, but until he puts the pen on paper, then ultimately it's not done, right? Saliba I haven't heard too much about. Rowan said, big up yourself, Curtis. Rowan here from Big Jamaica. Don't worry, Arsenal are going to win the Prem. I hope so. I hope so. Amo said Messi is not done in the big leagues. No way he's going to the US. I don't know if you saw the quotes. He did an interview with the Argentina squad just a few days before the World Cup started. And the headline from what Messi said was, Messi said he's not going to play professional football for too much longer. Now, I don't know what he means. Is that 2 years? Is that 4 years? But he simply said that, he doesn't think he's got that much longer playing. So I'm not so sure Messi is going to be going crazy for too much longer, I think apparently he has a house in Miami. Beckham, there were rumours that Beckham was going to offer him shares in the club to come and sign for them. I'm not sure Messi's going to be playing for too many more years. I think he's a bit different to Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo will do everything to stay at the top level for as long as possible. So we'll have to see. So, yeah, listen, I'm not concerned about Martinelli. Arsenal are performing. Arsenal are top of the league. Martinelli said some great things in the press conference about he wants to sign the new contract. Just put enough money on the table, I think he signs it. DJ Ash, big up Big C. Do you put club football over country? Absolutely 100 million %, and twice on a Sunday. Yes, I do. Absolutely no doubt about it. Because for me, listen, I live and breathe Arsenal daily. Daily. When Arsenal lose a league game, I probably don't get over that until the next game. Like, it will affect me for days. I'll be fuming. I can honestly say when England lost the Euros final last year to Italy, I was annoyed. I would say by 10, 11 o'clock that night, I was over it. I was like, right, when does Arsenal pre-season start? Who we signing? What's going on? I was over it. You know, to be honest, it doesn't hurt me the same way. I don't live and breathe international football. You know, I don't have any interest in the friendlies, the qualifiers. I watch them during the tournament. I'm over it within a couple of hours of the game finishing. Jamaica don't qualify, so I can't really get too involved with the reggae boys. England, I get over that real quick. I am absolutely Arsenal massively over country. You know, that's your club. You know, it's yours. Jude Bellingham said Twitch. Yeah, 100. Listen, I got an email from Twitch about some stuff. I've got to fill some forms out. I'm going to get the Twitch channel going properly. There's a lot of potential over there that I think I'm missing out on. Southern Gooner said, Kurt, we're both over 40. If you say I'm over 40, I'm nowhere near 40, my friend. Relax. I'm on the cocoa butter and the water. I told you. I'm here to tell you, playing after 35 is tough on the old bones. Messi's ready to win. Listen, I don't think Messi has the same hunger as Ronaldo to keep playing. Lee Judges said Carabao Cup over World Cup. I saw that, right? So Lee said he would rather win the Carabao Cup with Arsenal than the World Cup with England. Do you know what? I might even agree with him. I might even agree. Because you know why I can... Like I said, I watched England lose a final last year. I didn't care within 2 hours. I was like, yeah, cool, all right, it's sad. Yeah, football didn't come home. Right, who are Arsenal signing? When Arsenal... Nah, man, I'm with you. I'm with you. He should get a timeout for calling me 40. That's outrageous. But I'm with Lee. I'll take the Carabao Cup. I'll take the Carabao Cup over the World Cup. World Cup, all right, cool, football's coming home. England, where? Yeah, well done. Carabao Cup, I'm at Wembley. I'm celebrating. I'm going out that night. I'm going to the parade. Yeah, man, I'm with you. Carabao Cup, I'll take it. I'm massively club over country. Massively. Yeah, Judges ain't trolling, I'm telling you. He ain't trolling. And listen, like I said, and I know I harp on about this, and, you know, when I see the way that some of the players were dealt with by some of the England fans after the Euros final, sometimes that does disconnect me a little bit, you know, from it. I remember when England lost to Brazil, 2002. Remember when Ronaldinho lobbed the keeper? I remember watching that game with loads of friends, and some of them were devastated. Obviously, England had lost World Cup semi-final. I was like, yo, I just seen Ronaldinho lob the goalkeeper, and I didn't, because it was Brazil, I didn't even feel hurt. I've got to be honest. Listen, England winning the World Cup would be great for the whole country. So the Carabao Cup maybe is a bit of a stretch, but the whole sentiment for me is I'm way more connected to my club than I am the national team. You know, I've got to be honest. I don't own an England shirt. I don't think I've ever owned an England shirt. You know, it's just not that. It's just not that. I'm a gooner, man. I'm a daily gooner. You know what I mean? I'm a daily gooner every single day. Yeah, I support England every 2 or 4 years, but you know, Saka was star boy. He missed a penalty. All of a sudden, he's being abused. That don't sit right with me. If you only love somebody when things are good, that's not genuine to me. Now, I know that isn't the whole fan base, but that just didn't sit right with me, man. I got to be honest. So, if England win, I'm cool with it. But yeah, I'm not going to be, you know, angry and upset. I ain't going to be ripping no shirts, that's for sure. Arsenal got me ripping shirts. Big up my brother, Fran. Hope you're well, bro. He said I was mash up in Malia when Ronaldinho did that. Come on, man. You know what I mean? It's mad. When I watch Brazil, I'm like, yo, I think it's because of the style of play and the samba and the skill. It's like, I almost felt more connected watching Brazil at times than I have watching England. I don't know. I'll be real. Man said Emirates Cup. I think rather win the Emirates Cup than the World Cup. It's wild. But yeah, man, club over country. Anyway, final bit of transfer news before we get out of here. Matt G said, after the way Saka and others were treated, I find it difficult to get behind England. Smokey said, you're saying this if we won the World Cup national holiday. Yeah, listen, the bank holiday would be decent, but we keep it moving. Big up, hey, Buenos Aires Guna in the chat. Hope you're well, bro. Hope you are well. 40 said it depends on which country you rep. Others would say country over club. Politics in everything anyways, and people always crit 100%. Saw a thing with Steven Gerrard where he used to say South American players, Coutinho and Suarez and these guys, they was packing their suitcase 4 or 5 days before international duty. They couldn't wait to get back. Yo, get me to Brazil. World Cup qualifiers. It means everything. With England, Gerrard was like, oh, man, this is an inconvenience. I got to go and play for England. There was such a rivalry between the club teams. They didn't even like each other. So I do think a lot of it is down to what country you're from and how you feel about that country. I've got to be honest. Smokey said you're saying this. But yeah, listen, like you said, man, it would be great to see England win the World Cup, just so we're not talking about 66. And I'd love to see a lot of these players achieve something great. Saka winning the World Cup, Sterling, and then, man, Kane finally winning a trophy. DJ Ash, 100% with you, Curtis. Club over country. In other countries such as Brazil and Argentina, that viewpoint will be different as they're more passionate. 100%. Big up Cho Desmond as well. Final bit of news, people, before I get out of here, and that is regarding Declan Rice and Peas. Matt Law saying in the Daily Telegraph, Declan Rice's contract is due to expire in 2024 and next summer will represent West Ham's last chance to bank a big fee unless he signs a new long-term deal, which he has no intention of doing. At least 2 clubs have already registered a strong interest in Declan Rice, and he's linking Arsenal to Declan Rice in this article, which I don't get because the whole story over the past year has been that he's going to go to Chelsea. He's a boyhood Chelsea fan. They released him as a youngster. He's best friends with Mason Mount. They're now trying to say possibly that Graham Potter is not necessarily looking at him. And they're saying £70 million. Now, would you take Declan Rice at Arsenal? It's a tricky one, this, because I've said many times, and Yardman, I do own a Reggae Boys shirt, 100%. I've said many times that I think Declan Rice is overrated, right? I stick by it. I call him rice and peas, jollof rice and all of that, I think he's overrated. I think there's English hype on him. To me, he's a workhorse, but he does have good leadership and he is young. I don't know if Partey and Declan Rice has balance, I'm not sure. 70 million for Declan Rice. I don't know. I just don't know. He'd be a good addition. I just don't. I'm not convinced. For 70 million, I want a silky goal scoring midfielder, that can play next to Thomas Partey possibly. I don't know if I would take Declan Rice. I agree. So listen, I think he's got a fantastic mentality, no doubt. He's a leader as well, by the way. Let me not act as if he's not a good player. I do actually think he's a good player. I'm just not sure that's the midfielder that we need to be spending £70 million on. Cliffo saying Partey might be gone in 2024. He's getting old. I would argue he's playing the best football of his Arsenal career, but he is, of course, aging a little bit. Thomas Partey is now... he is... How old is he? He's 30 nearly. He's 30 in June. 30 in June of next year, Thomas Partey. So we do need someone, but I'm just not sure. I'm not sure. I like Declan Rice, but I would agree with Daniel. I think a good player, but not the right player. I think we need a ball-playing, goal-scoring midfielder to play next to Thomas Partey. I look at Declan Rice as a DM. He sits in front of the back four and protects. I don't know if that's what we need. People saying Thomas Partey's nearly 45. People saying he's got grandkids. He was certainly playing like that at first, but he's balling at the moment. Too bad, expensive for egg fried rice at Lubos. Danilo is Partey's backup. And listen, I think Arsenal would rather spend £26 million on Danilo, Brazilian, someone who knows, as a backup for Partey than spend 70 million on Rice baby, you know. So for me, I wouldn't go for him. I think there are better options. King Emery said Goretzka may be available in the summer. He would be. I think he's a very good player. Ruben Neves for me as well. Much more suitable. 25, top quality on the ball. So, it's a no for me. I'll stick to my rice and peas, people. People, thank you very much for tuning in. I've been on for an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to get out of here now because Holland are playing against Ecuador. So I'm going to go and tune in and watch that. Don't forget, I'm back on tonight, 6:30. England against America, big game. A win for England sees them qualify. If they lose, that group goes wide open because they would be on 3 points, the same as Iran. And America, if they were to lose, I think England will beat America. But definitely a big, big game. So make sure you tune in tonight, people. At 6:30 for a 7 p.m. kickoff, people. Thank you very much for tuning in. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully see you all later on. And enjoy the rest of your Friday, people. I will see you all later for the watch-along. Bless.